So you have your sketchbook out, but you don't know what to paint. It happens to me all the time. Today, I'm going to share with you some ideas of things you can easily paint that are either going to be a starting point for your own creativity to spark, or are going to leave you deeply satisfied that you finally use your brand new watercolors. They're going to be easy, but they're going to be so beautiful. Hi, I'm Paula. Welcome to my channel. I'm a full-time artist and let's get creative. I've been wanting to use my new set of watercolors so badly. They are bright and beautiful and they immediately inspired me to paint some beautiful, happy florals. I jumped right in. No plan really, because this is about having fun. Not even too worried about my composition, I'm just flowing. And I'm making up the flowers and the leaves as I go, but of course you could use a reference too. I'm really watering down my watercolors to allow them to flow and mix with each other. When I painted an element, I was able to drop a different color on top and let the watercolors do their magic. This is how my happy flowers dried. Honestly, I could have left them there, but I wanted to play more and experiment. So I brought in some markers and colored pencils to draw on top. And because before doing my first markings I did have a moment of hesitation, I want to talk about the fear of ruining things. When we make something and the first steps turn out nice, there's this thought of, but what if I ruin it moving forward? What if I try this thing that I want to do and it looks terrible? What if I ruin it with color? And of course, that happens to me so much, both the doubt and the actual ruining of things for pushing further. Seriously, if I didn't edit all the awkward pauses, you would see my hand getting closer and further away, back and forth again and again in hesitation until I finally decide to jump in. But I've learned through my own failure that if you don't risk it, if you don't shake that fear, then how do you move forward? How will you get better, or how will you create something new or something that is so you? If you don't move, it won't happen. And moving means overcoming that fear. Do it once. Remember, it's only color, it's only paper. And I promise after that first time, each time it will get easier to quote-unquote risk it all. So I started the mark making with paint markers and then I moved to colored pencils. I basically doodle on top of my painting to give it more definition. And here it is, signed and blown up, because I continue to be surprised at how much wall art that I see for sale can be as simple as my sketchbook play. It just looks beautiful because it's in a large scale. Second idea, and I was still in such a playful mood, super happy with how bright and saturated these watercolors are. I started staining my page in a diagonal, really playing with my colors, adding marks, having some splatter, and just letting things mix and letting the watercolors do their magic. And these beautiful watercolors are magic. Let me tell you a little bit more about them. They were a gift from my friend Kristy, who was so kind to send me a box of her product from her shop. And I gotta tell you, I was flipping with excitement. I did swatch them before starting, but if you know me, fun comes before swatching. So I wanted to jump into the fun and show you some ideas. But since I know a lot of people, my daughter included, love the swatching, I have some swatching and unboxing footage of everything she sent further along this video. With my gorgeous paint plate dry, I wanted to again try my other media on top. So back again with a paint marker, and I wanted to do a whole floral design with only red. It was looking a little bit flat, so I decided to risk it and outline the flowers and some of the details with purple too, just to make them pop out a little bit. And then, just for fun, I splattered a little extra paint on top, and here we are. Done, blown up, and it's bright, a little bit abstract, and it's fun. So, moving on to the third idea. For this one, I started by drawing a frame with some curved lines inside. I then erased them to make them lighter and started to paint lines within the spaces between the curves. As you can see, I am not using a pure watercolor directly from the pan, but I'm slowly mixing colors and changing the colors slightly. This idea is more about experimentation and relaxation than about having like a mind-blowing piece of art at the end. I mean, the result is still great, it's still pretty, but I wanted to paint something that would allow me to learn more about my watercolors, about how to mix them and create gradients. I've seen spectacular pieces done by slightly creating gradients, and I believe to get to that, you need some practice. So why not start that practice with less pressure by creating a fun page? After all of the lines were painted and dried, I erased the remains of the pencil guidelines, and here we go. A very simple but nice idea. I imagine actually doing this on a large canvas must be really satisfying, but until one of us gives that a try, here it is blown up to give us an idea of how it would look. Next idea, and I ran out of space on this sketchbook. I actually went to the art supply shop and they were out of the watercolor paper I like. So I grabbed the sketchbook they had, and it's not watercolor paper. As you can see, instead of 250 grams watercolor paper, it is 150 grams Bristol paper. And yeah, it didn't perform the same. But let's get through it. This was just an idea that popped into my head. I wanted to somehow combine a lot of the things I've been doing in previous sketchbook videos. So I started again with some frames and then drew some neurological lines that I then intercepted with some circles. The circles I drew directly with pen because those I knew I wanted to keep as a whole. But the lines I wanted to edit with my eraser. When I started this page, I was very aware that this could fail completely and be so ugly, but I also thought, hey, it may work. And I felt that day I was in a mood that could handle making something awful without having an artistic tantrum. So I tried it. Some days I can really focus on the fact that I am doing things either for the joy of it or for the process, which means taking out these ideas that pop into my head and putting them down on paper. Here's my other sketchbook that I use to develop ideas, and I wanted to show you this page so you can see how I prepare these type of sketchbook videos. I kind of write stuff and do like a mini thumbnail sketch, but I don't really do them before I film. I basically make a list of ideas and then I just test them on camera with you. So that's why sometimes things don't work out as I imagined them, and sometimes there are artistic tantrums. Okay, so back to the idea, and here's where I am with my composition. As you can see, I erased some things and started to trace others, playing a little bit with changing sharp intersections with neurological curves and changing the thickness of the lines. A lot of areas of this page were looking ugly, but because I was trying something new, I was determined to push on to see if I could find something in this idea. Some lines I had to make much thicker so that they looked like they were flowing with the composition. There was a lot of fidgeting with a lot of fixing lines, but I guess because in some sense I was using neurological art, the process was very satisfying. When I was finished with the line work, I thought I had a very futuristic composition on my hands and that it was time to add some color to see how it all came together. But as I said, this is not watercolor paper, so as soon as I add some water, the paper starts coming apart and it looks like it has little dots on it. So definitely not the best medium for the idea, but I thought the result in trying out what was in my head was okay. And I actually did like this one too, so you can see how it would look in a space. Okay, fifth idea of the day, and yeah, I don't want to use this paper anymore, so I'm bringing in my Canson watercolor sketchbook because this paper is much better. I actually love this sketchbook too. I just wanted to keep it for character developing only, but who cares, right? It's all my own artwork. I'm going back to flowers for the fifth idea, and because my friend Kristy definitely knows much more about watercolors than I do, I mean, the girl has her own set of watercolors. I thought I would draw inspiration from some of her content, which of course I will link in the description of the video. To start, I began by painting some circles, let them to dry completely, and then I went in with a second layer in the same color, just making this one a little bit smaller. While that second layer of circles dried, I started to add some stems and leaves to all of my flowers. I'm really playing with colors here and having a lot of fun. I was trying to have different types of leaves for each different color of flower, and keeping everything super bright and cheerful. Stems and leaves done, so now to work on the flowers more using Kristy's idea. For this, I added a big drop of color to the centers, super watered down. It's almost like water with pigment. And then you take a pencil, or in my case a color pencil, and you draw out from that puddle of paint. So of course the pencil has its own color, but it also carries out some of the watercolor out with it. Kristy made some abstract markings with this technique, and I thought it would be fun to use to create the petals for all of the flowers. I tried different color combinations between watercolor and colored pencils, and when I was done, I chose to tie it all together by adding details to the stems with the same color and pencils. I had so much fun playing with these flowers. They were so light and beautiful to make. Idea number 6. Again, following Kristy's play, we're about to pool paint. I've seen this done before, but never with watercolor, so I was surprised you could do it with it too. Again, I'm creating big puddles of paint. You can see how wet that is, and I'm taking a little piece of cardboard and I'm just extending that paint down. Whee! It was so much fun to do this. I had an area with no paint, so I added a puddle to the bottom and pulled the paint again. I love this. I think it serves for such a great background. I already had ideas on how to work on top of it, but it was taking a little bit of time to dry, so I decided I would add some splatter to it. I'm just having fun. I got really excited about the idea, and because I did get so excited, I thought I would do another page. So again, here I am adding a lot of watercolor to the top of the page, making these large watercolor puddles. I'm trying a different color combination now, and back again with a piece of cardstock. I was so into it, I pushed my sketchbook out of the frame. Sorry for that. Again, for the part that didn't get much paint, I added more puddles, and this time I thought I would pull a little bit in a diagonal. Okay, so here they are, both of them dry, and I wanted to start with the page on the right. For this one, I'm just going to do a little bit of a reverse coloring by tracing some of the outlines of the watercolor stains, having a little bit of fun just playing again with lines. When I engage in art sessions like the one I'm sharing today, I really try to give myself permission to have a childlike approach to what I'm doing, to allow myself to do things that I would normally consider maybe mistakes or maybe too basic. I allow myself to try without being too serious about it and just really truly enjoy the process. Can you connect with the memory of playing with any type of art supply and the mess you made, and how that and just experimenting and being so free with color made you happy? That's what I try to do, because normally I'm not that free with color, so having this approach allows me to try new things and be nicer to myself, because I can frame what I'm doing as play. So what does play look like to you? Is it mixing colors? Is it being splotchy? Is it just using the same brush without washing it? What do you need permission for? Just reframe your approach, and if you truly need to hear the words, I'm here giving you permission. Permission to come along and play with me. Use the fancy supplies, use the paper, just have fun. And create something to feed your soul first. Then allow that practice to carry you through learning, getting better little by little until you make something that you feel confident with and you absolutely want to share with the world. So the one side ended being just an abstract with some line play on it, and the other side, as you saw, I added a bunch of little hearts, combining them with the splatter I already had on the page. I think both pages, the ideas are simple, but they look beautiful. And again, all of this is just making art. Okay, 7th idea, and I'm drawing inspiration from a lot of watercoloring images that Pinterest has shown me of people painting pebbles or rocks with watercolor, but because this is me, I thought I would draw some stacked hearts. I love hearts everywhere. So I drew my hearts and then erased the lines a little bit so they wouldn't show through the painting. I started to fill them again, working with very diluted colors, putting down a solid first and then adding bits of another one and allowing them to blend on the page. I really like using watercolor like this. I've done circles before and it feels right. It's really nice to kind of leave that space for the watercolor to surprise you as it moves and it dries. I don't know why, I find it to be super beautiful. My hearts are dry, and as you can see now we have a bunch of stains that weren't there before, and I've learned now that these are called cauliflowers in the watercolor world. I like that. They do look like cauliflowers. Okay, to finish the page, I wanted to add a little bit more of my personality or style by adding some line work on top, drawing the offset lines that I like with color pencil. And as easy as that, here is my final page. And I think this is the first video where I've blown up absolutely every page into a mock-up. I just loved all of the results today. Now, before going back to see everything we created today, let me give you a closer look at the supplies Kristy gifted me. They are simply beautiful. Thank you so much again, my friend. Here's some footage of me opening the box. Look how beautiful everything looks inside. I was gasping. She sent me this beautiful set of swatching stamps. I've never had anything similar. So great. Of course, here are the beautiful watercolors I used throughout today's video, and she sent me these two pretty pouches that have brush sets in them, and the brushes are such good quality too, and so beautiful and colorful. And one of the things I like the most about them is that they have beautiful phrases on them. Super encouraging. You can see my daughter's hand popping in the frame there. She was so excited about going through this box with me. Kristy also sent this beautiful travel brush. It has its own little pouch. Look at it, it's perfect. It's a round brush, which is the type I like the most, actually. She also has this silicone painter spot that's collapsible, and something I didn't realize I needed until I saw it. I mean, it's perfect. The material, the two sides for clean and dirty water, and it's easy to clean. I love it. Oh, and this is a little thing I ordered myself from her site that I will probably use in an upcoming video. It's gold watercolor in a tiny ceramic turtle. So cute. And this is another thing I ordered for myself because I really wanted one. It's a color wheeled keychain. I thought it was so beautiful and useful too, right? You can see everything looks so gorgeous and inviting. It really makes you want to jump in and play. As I said at the beginning of the video, I did swatch them before starting just because I wanted to get a little bit more familiar with the colors I had, their opacity, and pigmentation. Even the swatch card for this thing is gorgeous. I've been looking for a new watercolor set, and this one hits the spot. Super pigmented like I like it, and the color combo is so nice. I like this set much better than the Kuretake travel set I got a few videos back. I think I haven't even used that one after doing that video. Have I? I'm not sure. But I already know I'll be coming back to this one a lot. Okay, so now let's look back at everything we painted together today. We have the heart-shaped rocks with lines on top. Then me trying this new technique that I love for backgrounds, so I made two versions of it. My beautiful flowers that I created by pulling paint with color pencils. And then on a different sketchbook, here's my futuristic sort of neurographical art, which is a combination of a lot of things I've tried before for relaxation. The page of lines I painted to learn more about how to mix my watercolors, and my two bright floral pages that started the video today. Thank you so much again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please let me know in the comments. Have the most beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!